Vulnerability is Cool podcast listeners. So welcome back. Today we've got Abby Orchard.
Why do I look like I'm actually an armadillo? Like, I feel cute, but like I just looked at the camera and that's just...
No, you are looking slay girl vibes right now with your LA sweatshirt. She's an LA girl.
LA grind, you know? Yikes. Okay.
Abby is my podcast producer and BFF, and she probably knows me better than a lot of people because not only does she record these episodes, listens to them once, but has to listen to them again to edit them, and then maybe a third time to edit them again. So her voice, I probably haunt her in her sleep. No. My voice probably haunts her.
It's so funny because I feel like I'll listen to your episode and then like I'll text you or something, and I feel like I just like know... I don't even know. It's like so weird to describe. Like, I feel like I'm like always in a conversation with you. And so when I text you, I'll just start like mid-sentence, mid-conversation.
It's perfect.
Like not even like how you doing or like what's going on.
We just get straight to the nitty-gritty.
So tell them how we met.
Okay, so I love Abby so much. And there's just been so many freaky things with us. Like we followed each other on Instagram for a long time. And then I saw her posting about her podcast. And I was like, hey, where do you record at? And she was like telling me all the things. And she's like, I could totally like help you produce your podcast or whatever. So we go to lunch and we just start chatting. And what was even the first thing? I think one of the first things was our phone numbers are like just one digit off or something.
Yeah, it was. No, I thought it was like our emails or something.
No, it's both.
Oh yeah.
So our phone numbers are one digit off. And then our emails, hers is Abby Orchard, and mine is Jenna Jarvis, which is just weird.
Yeah.
And it was
freaky,
like, yeah,
actually. The phone number was weird. And the email to back it up was like, that's not real.
But then we're in LA and we're driving and I'm talking about my mission in Salta, Argentina. And she's like, Jenna. Like, how did this even go?
I think it was like, we could probably reenact it right now. It was like this. So Jenna, where'd you go on your mission again?
And I was like, Salta, Argentina.
And I said, no shit. and then I was like, I had a mission called Salta, Argentina.
And I literally did not believe you. And even when I saw your email was Abby Orchard, I'm like, this girl is oddly like either weirdly obsessed with me or something is going on here. I don't know because
me, the obsessive type.
I'm like, why are our phone numbers the same and our emails? And then you tell me you went to Salta, Argentina. I'm like, bitch, stop.
There's no way. I know. It was actually like,
that was
so crazy.
I forced her to show me her mission call opening video because I did not believe her. Like literally. And Salta is like this tiny town that nobody ever goes on their mission there ever. Like it's literally no one ever. Everyone's always like, oh, Argentina, Buenos Aires. I'm like, no.
Yeah. No. Completely
Salta.
different. Yeah.
So...
yeah, that was really weird, which is even weirder because like my mission call opening was the wildest, most like, I don't even know why. Like I never felt connected to it. I never felt, even though I was like really excited, like, and also I'm such a hopeless romantic. So like anything I do, I feel like if I don't feel this like emotional, like pull to it or some kind of like connection or anything to something like I know it's like not really meant to be or something like that. So like when I got my mission call, I never really felt like like this is something that is like super even important to me.
Yeah.
But then honestly, like when you told me that, I was like, is that why I got it?
Literally.
Like, I was like, is that the whole reason that I even got called there? So that like you and I would have a synchronicity. I don't know. That's like weird stuff. But yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, I was literally in shock. I'm still honestly in shock by everything that's happened. I'm like, and just we like think the same with like mental health and well-being and spirituality. Like we have so many of the same thoughts and we just like go off on tangents constantly and can never stop talking. It's just like, where have they been all my life? I don't know.
I don't know. There's like something to be said about like, you specifically, which is like amazing because you found the industry that you need to be in, like help the most people. But like you are, I always tell you this like all the time. Like I think after like almost every podcast recording, I've been like, you are just such a light. Like you are like so like magnetizing, you know? But what's interesting is I feel like that's what I've been told all my life, you know, about like, you're just, you like, I don't know. I never felt understood by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I don't even know why. I don't know why. But when I met you, I was like, whatever she's gotten her is like, I feel like what I've always felt in me. And it was nice to know that I wasn't the only person who like thought the way that I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially
totally.
like, and you mentioned with OCD, and you've mentioned like a lot of the things that you struggle with on the daily. And I've just been like, what? Like, how is it that I felt so alone for so long, and then I meet someone like you out of the blue, and we have the same email, we have the same phone number, we went to the same, or like we had the same mission call, and then we think the same way. Like for me, it was just like, wow, like there's something more here. Like there's something that like I need to like pay attention to.
Yeah. And I feel like we could see all of these things and just be like, oh, whatever, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Or we could choose to see like the meaning in it, you know?
Yeah,
Which I feel like is like everything in life.
I am so happy that we met. And I immediately, like when we went to lunch and we were talking about her podcast, and based off how I was feeling in my life currently, like, or when we met, I was like begging for a change in my life. Like I was like, just honestly, so hungry for something more. And it wasn't necessarily like more work or like more clients or more, I don't know, anything like that. It was like, I needed more people. Like I needed more people like me. And I wanted to surround myself with people that would make me a better person.
Yeah.
And because this is all I do 24/7, produce podcasts, do marketing, like run my business, it means a lot to me when I meet people that I'm aligned with.
Yeah.
And so when we were talking about it, I just was like, yeah, no brainer. Like it's so easy to say yes to this, because not only, of course, I'm excited to like produce your podcast, and I was excited to listen to the guests that you were going to have on, but also like I learned so much from even just like having your contact in my phone, you know?
Oh, I'm honored. It really did work out so good. Like so good. And it was almost like when everything was going down, like, and we met to talk about the podcast, I was like, there is no one better that I could ever imagine doing this for, like for my podcast, you know?
Yeah.
And it just like, just the way that we like literally that morning when we met for breakfast or lunch or whatever it was, we just could not stop chatting. Like everything was just lining up.
Yeah.
And like I always say, every blade of grass is tilted in your favor. Like I just really felt that. I was like, everything is happening for me. Like, of course we are meeting. You know?
Yeah. Seriously.
And just like with so many things, like the OCD, like you said, just like, I feel like our anxiety, like we're just the same, and we both work from home, and like we just, all the things that just lines up. So we definitely help each other. Like even for this episode, I was like going to do a solo episode, but I'm just like on my period and not vibing right now. And I'm like, Abby, I just need to do a chill episode with you, and we're just going to chat, and we're going to have some fun, talk about the random stuff, like our routines and how we get through things or whatever.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
It's just going to be no expectations. And so I'm glad that I have you, that I can just do that, you know?
Oh, well, that's amazing.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes. This is the best. And we're so cozy. We're literally just in your apartment with your beautiful little setup.
It took us like 45 minutes to set this up.
True. But we got it.
Normally I record my podcast in here, just like right where you're sitting, just with one microphone. So there's like no pressure. But for some reason, getting the second microphone was crazy, but we actually made it work.
Yeah, we did. We're our knees are touching here. Our
knees
very
are touching.
Close right now.
We're very vulnerable with each other right now.
Okay, something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I just want to like chat with you about this, because I think something for me, I always want to know about people's routines and how they like work through their emotions. And
Ooh.
So what's your little daily routine? And I'll say my little daily routine right now. Or like if you have it, or if you feel like what you want it to be, or where it's at right now.
I mean, my daily routine has definitely been looking different lately, because I used to work 9 to 5, and I worked at a production company. And so my routine, that was actually a big reason why I left my 9 to 5, because I didn't have a routine like at all. And it made me so unregulated, and it made me so just a crack show. Like everywhere I went, it was just so bad. And so one of my biggest things since now being self-employed is how do I build a routine that like is real, that really works for me and is actually like nurturing. We just don't take care of ourselves enough.
Yeah.
We're really bad at regulating ourselves and even knowing what that looks like. And even like getting into the mindset of if I want something to change for me, I have to actually change something in my routine and I actually have to like put action into it. Like, I think that we just expect to be like, oh, well, the new gym that I joined is going to solve my, you know, fitness problems. And like the factor meals are going to solve the fact that I never cook, or like we try and like solve it with like all these external factors when really everything can be solved within just changing little things around us.
Yeah.
Changing like little things you do throughout the day, which I really, like I said, have learned, especially in the past couple weeks, because literally my routine right now is I'll wake up like 7:38. I mean, let's be honest. My alarm's set for like 7 and then I have to sleep in until like
Same.
7:38. Yeah. So I try and always get out of bed by like 8:30, like max. And I wake up, I walk over to my kitchen, make my coffee, and then I will try, if I can, if I even have like the mental space for it, I'll try and sit in front of my mirror and just do some mirror work. And so all that is just me sitting there and literally just looking at myself dead in the eyes and like just doing affirmations, just being like, I can do this. Like I'm capable. I'm responsible. I'm smart. I'm willing. I'm open, all the things. And I feel like for me, that just helps me step into my day with power, because otherwise there's so many things that get thrown in my direction that it's like any one of those things would make me feel powerless. But if I can step into my day with power, then, you know, 9 times out of 10, I have a phenomenal day.
Yeah.
But there are days I don't do that. Like there are times from my pajamas straight to my desk. And then I'm just sitting at my desk working until 5, 6, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
That is crazy. We're talking no food, no water. I was telling Jenna this before the episode. I was like, something is wrong. Like I just grind so hard. And I hate that word too, but like, I just like, it's so weird. Like I suck at making a routine that I stick to. Cause right now my routine is like wake up and work.
Yeah.
And that's it. So when I don't do my meditation, don't do my mirror work, if I don't make my coffee, if I don't set my meals at a specific time, if I don't set my workout at a specific time, if I don't set time to go see my family or to go on a walk, like get outside, you know, like I will not leave the apartment. I won't leave my desk. And I don't know, a big reason why I do that, because it's not comfortable. Like I'm not like having fun. Like I don't like just waking up and going straight to work, like straight to my home office. But a big reason why I've been doing that is because I realized that I felt for some reason so guilty doing anything other than working during the weekdays. Yeah. Because I'm the only one in my business. I'm the only one who runs it. And so if I'm not there, then it's going to crash and burn. Yeah. And there's so much pressure that I put on myself with my business, and my family knows this. My friends know this, that they're like, my business is my child. Like it's like my baby, and I care so much about it and I want to see it grow. But I always have this fear that if I stop working or if I don't show up every single day to my full capacity, then when it fails, I can't say that I gave it my best. And I can't say that I tried everything that I could. And I can't say that, you know, I showed up rain or shine in a good mood or a bad mood, and I just showed up and I did it. Like I would walk away from that being like, well, I took an hour to go eat lunch and I got stuck on my phone, and then I went to the gym and took too long, and the shower took 45 minutes, and then I wasn't ready for my call. And then I had, I feel like unfortunately that was the narrative that I had in my head was, if I don't show up every single day, then when it fails is what I said, I wouldn't be able to say that I gave it my all. And that is so stressful. And I've realized you can't maintain that. It's not realistic. It's extremely unhealthy. Even though I'm passionate about what I'm doing and I really want it to succeed, that doesn't mean that it's okay to neglect yourself or your routine. And so this was such a big tangent, but right now I'm literally working on sticking to my routine and just making it such a concrete thing that I do every single day. And it has very strict time constraints and it has very high level tasks that I have to do for myself. Like literally I wrote down a list and I was like, I have to go outside no matter what. Like I have to. It doesn't even matter if I'm just going out there for 2 seconds. Like I have to go outside at least one time. I have to have planned meals. I have to work out. And when I say work out, I'm not saying like I need to go like do some like crazy insane workout. And it's purely just to get myself out of my environment so my brain has time to process.
Yeah.
I can only be as good in my business as I am taking care of myself. You have to be working on you in order to give. It's like one of the most ancient, most overplayed quote, like you have to help yourself before you help anyone else. Yeah. So anyways, that was really long. What does your routine look like?
No, I totally relate. And it's crazy because I just feel like such a shift in my day if I don't start out like in a productive way, especially if I go straight to my phone. And there's so many studies about that like if that like just all of your serotonin is like used right when you wake up almost. Like, it's just like everything is put into that moment and it's like, there's nothing left. And like, I don't know, like recently I've been trying to in our women's group in Healed Girl School, we're doing like our goal, like over this last week and this week is to like 30 minutes of no phone right when you wake up and 30 minutes of no phone when you're going to bed. So I've been trying to read when I wake up, or I'll like go outside, or I'll like go drink my lemon water, or like just stay off my phone. And I feel like it helps my anxiety so much because lately my anxiety has just been through the roof. Just because I feel like I got back from ayahuasca and things were so great and I was just like chilling. And then, but like what I'm noticing is it's all about the integration. It's like what you do after. And I noticed that in therapy, like we both have OCD, so we both overthink everything. And I'm so about every detail. And like when I was in therapy, I went to talk therapy and then I went to like intense therapy and it's
talk therapy? Just
like talk therapy, no homework assignments, just like tell me how you're feeling and like,
That's the only therapy I've ever done.
Oh, okay.
There's other forms of therapy?
I mean, like if I'm going to a therapist and if I recommend anyone to go to a therapist, I'm like, go to someone that gives you homework. That could be like worksheets every week or books or whatever, because I did not learn the most in my therapy sessions. I learned the most throughout the week. That's when you learn, when you're actually applying the principles into your life. Like I had this amazing therapist, Stephanie Gardner, shout out. And she would give me so much homework. And like, it would be meditate every day. And like, when I first started, I could literally only meditate for like 1 minute. I hated it. And now I can meditate for like a whole hour, but and she would like check up on me and make sure I was doing it. And even like, she wanted me to pay for part of my therapy. So it wasn't just like my insurance was covering everything. Cause she wanted me to be like invested, Wow. And like, she was just and that totally changed my life. Like, I feel like it was compared to like the talk therapy I did before, it was like so sped up, like, and I even like, if I'm recommending a therapist, I'm like, it needs to be someone that doesn't want you in their office,
Yeah.
Like they are someone that is like ready for you to leave. That is like, let's get through this. Let's fix you in a way. Not that we're broken, but like, just let's help you with your coping mechanisms and your skills so that you can progress more in your life. And like, let's get you out of here. Like our last appointment, she was like, well, you're done. Like you graduated therapy. Like, and I was like, oh, but you're like my safe space. But it was just we just didn't have much more to talk about. Cause I like learned how to regulate my emotions on my own. Anyways, what I've been learning since being back from ayahuasca is like, I need to integrate, and like, I can go do this crazy psychedelic journey experience. I can do a mushroom journey or whatever. But if you're not like applying what you've learned and like doing mirror work, like you said, or doing affirmations every day, that's like huge one for me, or like writing my journal or like brain dumping or talking to people, then like, you're not going to progress, know? Like, I feel like going and doing ayahuasca is so much more than just going and doing it or doing a mushroom trip. It's like what you do after. And in therapy too. Like you can do so much work in therapy, but it really is what you do after. And that's where I've seen the most changes. And so being home from ayahuasca, I've like definitely hit some low points and I'm like, what the heck? Like I just did this huge experience and went to Costa Rica and did all these things, but it's like, are you integrating anything that you learned? No. Then like, how are you expecting to progress? You know, it's like going to the gym and doing a huge ass workout one day and then expecting to be fit for the whole year, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to integrate. And so I just got back from like a 2-week trip. I was like in Lake Powell, then I had a family reunion, had no alone time. And so today I just like woke up, did a meditation by myself. And I feel like my key things for a happy Jenna is like waking up, having lemon water and writing my affirmations down. And then recently I've been writing like, instead of I am grateful for, I write like, I acknowledge myself for. You know,
I love that.
I acknowledge myself for, and then like fill in the blank. I acknowledge myself for not being on my phone for the first 30 minutes of the day or like different things like that. But I have been so out of my routine that has just like effed me up so bad, you know, like my anxiety, especially like, okay, I'm at a point, I feel like you could relate to this. Like I just hate labels, you know, like I'm like, okay, I have OCD and like, I feel like I also have PMDD. Yeah, that's what it's called. That's like when you like PMS, but like times 10. Like it's like 2 weeks before you experience like symptoms. And yeah, but so I feel like I experienced that and you probably relate to that. And I'm probably not even doing it justice and how it really is.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Just found out something new.
Yeah, because you're right before your period and I'm in my period. So we're both crazy right now.
But it started a week ago. Like,
it
was, wow. I was telling her that like I'm in my luteal phase right now, which just makes me just manic and crazy and just all the things. So
literally every time right before my period, I'm like, so I'm bipolar, you know, my emotions are literally crazy.
Yeah. Mine is but the thing is what's weird about it is such an abrupt change. It is overnight. Like my sweet boyfriend who just literally, I love him so much because and I hate when women say that like, oh, my husband or my boyfriend or my partner like puts up with me, but like, damn.
Yeah.
Like he really does do so much to adapt to my waves
but it's hard
of craziness.
Because you also have to adapt to your waves of craziness.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Like I feel like as much as my partner is putting up with me, I am putting up with me.
I know,
you know?
literally. And so there's, especially as women, like we have, I think it was like a TikTok or something, but we have a 28-day cycle and men have a 24-hour cycle. They have their full cycle in 24 hours and ours is 28 days. So ours is way more intense. It's way more focused and it's way easier to see the drastic changes that you go through. Cause like, you know, we've all been with that one guy who's like super cranky in the morning and he's just such a little shit. And then like, you know, you hit 10 a.m. and he's like a ray of sunshine and he's going to work and he's going to go hang out with his buddies. And then he gets home and he's going to go golfing and he's a little tired and he's whatever, but he still goes. And then he gets home and he wants to have a big bowl of ice cream because it was such a hard day. And you know, but that's 24 hours, baby. Okay. Imagine that phase stretched out over 28 days.
Literally.
And every day is different and it's way more intense. Obviously, I don't know if that actually happens with every guy, but I think that we can observe that men do have cycles. We just happen to have them for way longer and it's just way more intense. But that's the part that is so interesting is the education about your cycle is it's few and far between. Like you don't grow up just knowing about different phases of your cycle at all.
Yeah.
You don't just grow up learning.
To this day, like the next girl we're having on the podcast, her name's Katie.
Yeah.
And she is going to talk to us all about our flow and our moon cycle. And to be honest, I literally know nothing about my cycle. Like all I know is that the week before my period, 2 weeks before I'm crazy, but that's all I know. And like, I just was never like really taught that, but like, that's so insane that we just go through this, but like, there's really not that much education. And then recently I'm hearing about all these studies that like, there's like horrible things in tampons and they make you infertile and like, and I'm like,
I know.
How is this just a thing that we just live through it and we're just here and we just do it. I'm like, this is so unfair.
I know. Well, back to my boyfriend. What was interesting is that he brought up to me, like, he was like, one day you're like so happy and you have this light in your eye. And then the next day it's like doomsday. Like it's like something horrible happened to you and you're like mourning or something. And I'm like, well, yeah, like I don't know why. And for a long time I felt crazy. Like in the beginning of our relationship, I felt crazy. I felt absolutely insane, unhinged, just everything, because he would call me out about it all the time. He'd be like, hey, I'm not trying to be a douche. I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, oh, she's cranky and she's on her period. He's like, I just care about you and I care about your peace.
And he's like, and I care about myself.
and he's like, and I also care about myself. And I also like, I need you healthy, because there's something that he said to me once is he's like, I'm really selfish and I want your best version. Like, of course, I'm here for the bad and I'm here for when you're sad and I'm here for when you're hurting. But like, I'm selfish and I want you as your best version. I want you your healthiest, your happiest, your brightest, your funniest, like, because that is something that I really like. I love those things about you.
I love that, actually. Yeah, that's so cool.
And so what I started doing was I started writing down every day during the month that change would happen. And I started just like tracking my moods. This is another routine, but like, every day of the month, I try as much as I can to track my mood, just depending on how I'm feeling, and be like, okay, June 12th, super, super happy, really great. June 13th, literally miserable. I feel like I'm going to die, And then I started realizing that every month around the same time, 2 weeks before my period, about roughly, there would be this massive shift. And it was not in my control to change it or to stop it, but it would just happen. And so I had to get really comfortable with being like, okay, I'm going to be crazy I'm going to feel crazy for the next 2 weeks, but it doesn't mean I'm crazy. And it doesn't mean that I'm not valid. It's okay. It's just how you deal with it. Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I try, like when I'm in this phase, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be the victim. Like, I don't want my period having control over me. I need to have control over like my period in a sense, or like my emotions, or like, I feel the same way with my OCD, but like, it is so hard. And it is crazy that like, what's that scripture? It's like by small and simple things, something.
Oh, like little by little, precept by precept. Yeah. Precept upon precept.
Something
whatever.
by small and simple means great things come to pass or something.
Yeah.
I always think about that.
The right one.
Oh, no. But that one's like along the same lines.
Yeah.
But it's just like these little tiny moments of being so intentional, especially with our crazy hormones and these things. Like it really sucks. Like it actually sucks so bad that we have to continually be so intentional with these things. But if we're not, then like all hell will break loose and we will be miserable. Not only will everyone around us be miserable, but we will be miserable too.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes, like literally yesterday, I was like, by no means am I like, don't want to be here, but I was like, I do not want to go through this for the rest of my life. I feel insane.
Jenna will send me the funniest texts. Sometimes it'll be like 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night. And she's like, okay, don't hear this is that I don't want to be here anymore. But I literally, if I got hit by a car, I actually wouldn't care right now. And I'm like, okay, we're there. We're there. We're there.
Full vulnerability. We are there and it's okay.
And it is okay.
But I'm telling you so that you get that out.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, it's just, I'm in deep suffering right now.
Yes.
But it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Acknowledging it though is half the battle.
It's true.
I really liked what you said though. And I actually think like as women, it's our responsibility. And it's funny because we have a lot of responsibilities, but men do too. And no matter how you identify, we all have responsibilities as human beings. It's our responsibility to get to know our phases and to fully embrace them and love them and to become the healthiest we can be.
And fully embrace ourselves and like not play the victim, because we can never be anyone else, like I'm not like, I am never going to be someone else. I'm only going to be this version of me. So why not figure out the best way to work with this version of me? You know, because it's so easy to play the victim. Like it really is, but
I know.
not in the long run. In the long run, it's just hurting us.
Yep.
And so
it hurts relationships.
Yes.
It hurts your opportunities. It hurts your energy, like everything.
Yeah. Right now in Healed Girl School, we're focused on like energetic boundaries and kind of like that's what our call is today. Like what you're focused on when what you're allowing into your life. And it really is all that we are allowing, everything that we are doing. Like, and I feel like sometimes we're like, oh, this person, but really like you allowed that person into your life and you allowed them to treat you that way. Or are you continuing to like allow them to treat you that way? You know, or like, okay, you have a period every single month of your life. Like, you know, what's going to happen. So like, why don't you educate yourself a little bit? Like talking to myself here, like, I'm really excited to have Katie come on and like just like learn more about that because I'm like, how have I not learned more about my cycle and like figured out how the best way to like maneuver it, you know, and like live my life.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. That's so interesting that you say that about boundaries because you understand the basic science behind like cause and effect.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like every choice that you make will lead to a different outcome. And there's like at every single moment of your life, you're faced with millions upon millions of millions and millions of different things that you could choose that lead to millions and millions and millions of different outcomes.
Which
you know,
stresses me the fuck out.
Which is perfect to know as an OCD, someone who experiences OCD. What's interesting about that is that when you have that information about, you know, like when you realize and internalize, like, there are tons of different things that I could choose right now. And every single one of them is going to affect my future in some small little way. Like even things that you don't think are going to, like whether or not you wash your face in the morning could potentially lead to a breakout the next day, whatever. That's like stupid shit that I obsess over.
Same.
Is like, if I don't wash my face in a week, I'm going to have a breakout and then like, whatever, you know? However, then there's also like the positive side to that where you're like the little things that you do throughout the day are going to lead to bigger opportunities maybe, or moments of happiness, moments of peace or joy, even if it's small. And even if you're the only one who knows that you did that. But I loved how you said that you have to have boundaries with your energy, but you also have to realize everything going on in your life right now is going on because of you. Sure, things happen. People say things, weird things happen all the time, you know, when you're not expecting it. But ultimately, everything you are, everything you have, everything you've experienced happened because you made choices that let that happen and made that happen. So it's a very basic, like scientific, like, I don't know, law of the universe, like cause and effect. If I do something, something will happen. Done. Even more so than that, it means we cannot be victims about almost anything. Every single decision you ever made puts you in the scenario where this thing could have happened. And there's 1,000 other things that you could have done that could have changed that scenario.
Yeah.
Change the situation. There are situations that you get into and you feel like I had no control and you feel like there was nothing that I could have done. But maybe there was. Maybe you could have done something different, right? And again, I'm not trying to say that bad things don't happen because they do every single day. Horrible, horrible things happen. But you have to be able to take responsibility for at least the thing that you did or didn't do.
Yeah.
And be like, well, you know what? Even if that happened to me and I didn't mean for that to happen, I didn't want that to happen. My responsibility now is to grow from it. Yeah. My responsibility is to heal from it. My responsibility is to confront it and to see what happened and not blame yourself. Because blame, I just hate blame. It sucks. Even if it is your fault, just use a different word. It's not blame.
Yeah.
It's accuracy. It's responsibility. And that is powerful. Blame feels low frequency. Responsibility feels high frequency.
Yeah. Like accountability.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to take accountability for this.
Because then you are having control over the situation and something else isn't having control over you.
100%. I'll give you an example of this. So my ex-boyfriend, I was in a relationship with him for 1.5 years. We moved in together. We got a dog together, and we had a pretty okay relationship, I would say. We were just very different, like by nature. We were just very, very different people. And he also had some tendencies that weren't very sustainable for my lifestyle, I would say. And it was just a really, really rocky situation, really rocky relationship. Towards the end of our relationship, things just got really, really bad. It got really verbally abusive. He just wasn't treating me the way that I knew I wanted to be treated. And there was just for so many reasons we were wrong for each other, and it just would not work in the long run. You know, I ended up breaking up with him, like kind of on a whim. And I lived with him. Like I broke up with him one night, and then the next morning I came and I got all my stuff and I picked it up. And then he ended up keeping our dog. And for the first week, I blamed him for how hurt I felt, which is so complicated if you think about it, because I knew who he was when he asked me to be his girlfriend, you know, 1.5 years prior to that. I knew who he was. I knew what he did. I knew how he treated his family. I knew how he treated the women in his life. Like, and then what I just expected that he would do it different.
Yeah.
And then other things, like months went on, and I knew for a long time that I didn't see a future with him, but I stayed with him anyways. And so when it all came crashing down and I was left, you know, dogless, apartmentless, and I was living with my mom, I had to go through this huge process of radical responsibility, because as much as I wish I could say, oh, he just was the worst and he treated me so bad, and there are all these things, this, of course I'm justified to leave. And of course, and like I could victimize myself so easily, and I could be like, well, he just made it so hard to have conversations with him, and I was so scared, and I didn't want to like hurt him. And yeah, I just felt like I was, you know, all these things you could just, there are excuse after excuse after excuse, until eventually you have to say everything that happened in that relationship, at least the part that I experienced in my life, is my fault. I did that. Yeah. And on top of that, I think it's fair to say that we teach people how to love us. And because I was so unstable at that point in my life, and I was so all over the place with my own self-worth and my own self-love and assurance and all the things, I taught him how to love me. And so no wonder he treated me like shit, because I treated myself like shit. And so I enabled bad behavior over and over and over again, because I truly believe that I didn't deserve anything more, you know? Yeah. And so when he did it, it was like, like you almost expect it, which sucks, because you don't ever want to be treated badly. But then the day that I left him, and the day that I like stood up for myself, you know, which is funny, because I wasn't standing up for myself to him. I was standing up to myself to me. But when I decided to leave him and we had this conversation, he didn't even know who I was, because I had never spoken to him like that. And I had never given myself space to actually be like, hey, you know what? I don't want to be treated like this. But guess what? Not all of it is your fault. Funny enough, I actually have a huge part in this. And that's like the accountability, the radical accountability that you kind of have to get to eventually, to free yourself from victimhood, to be like, yes, this bad thing happened. And yes, he treated me shitty. And yes, you know, I didn't see my family for an entire year because he never wanted to go and see them. But what could I have done differently? How could I have made it better? What else could I have said? What else could I have tried? But I didn't, you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, that part I do take, not blame, but I do take accountability for that. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I feel like it kind of bleeds into everything in our lives. Everything you do is a result of what you did. Totally. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Even I'm thinking about you, like also staying at your corporate job that you didn't want to be at. And you really started like hating it, and not anything to do with them, but you just knew you weren't supposed to be there. And it was like and that's why you left, because you were hurting yourself.
you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like in relationships that is so huge to just be able to like in any relationship, friendship, work, like anything, just to be able to take accountability for your side. And I feel like that's why we work so well together, because maybe we are like over self-critical, but like we are just so quick to be like, hey, like I could have been better in this, or like, hey, I feel like I have friends that are so amazing and that do take accountability, but I feel like we are so similar that like we're both like, I don't feel like I ever have to guess what you're thinking, you know? And it's so nice just
good
knowing
or bad. Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah. Cause like, I'm like, oh, if something's wrong, she'll tell me. And we've created that safe space for each other so that we can like do that. And it's so interesting because you'll go to therapy for like, you know, with your family, or you'll go to therapy with your boyfriend or your husband, but like you don't go to friend therapy, which I think is so interesting. But I feel like we've gotten to a point that like, I mean, I feel like if anything was in our relationship, we would do that. You know? But like, I feel like we're just so good with each other. And so we're both like trying to be so self-aware, and like, obviously we all have our faults, but it's been so healing for me to have this friendship because we both take accountability, you know?
Yeah, definitely. The person that really taught me friendship, which is weird because you just kind of grow up thinking you know friendship, but then you get into a really bad friendship and you're like, what even happened? You know? Well, so my friend Annie, I lived with her like my second year of college or something like that. But she's a few years older than me, and I always looked up to her like she was like an older sister, and we were like super fast friends, but I knew she was like way more mature than I was at the time. And Annie was someone in my life who showed me what real friendship really is. And it's not that you agree on every single thing. And it's not like a, you know, if you jump, I'll jump kind of situation. Real friendship is when that person sees you for who you are, all of the magical and all the wonderful and all the light, but also they see you for all of the bad. And they see you for the unhinged and the messy and the complicated and the times that you're gonna disappoint them. And they decide to love you anyway, but they don't let you get away with it. And so Annie never let me get away with any bad behavior ever. And I love her for that. It's interesting because like just the way that she approached it and the way that she went at it was always with so much love and so much understanding. And so like, it was never
like, give us an example.
Okay. Here's an example. There was a period of time, post-COVID, that when I was living with Annie, that I was in my Tinder era. Needless to say. And I was going on a ton of dates, and I was hanging out with a lot of guys, and I was bringing them over to our place. At this point, I was in my head, I was thinking like, this is totally like my time, and this is like when I need to be doing this, and this is like totally okay and whatever. And Annie had expressed to me previously that she was like, hey, just so you know, like I really love my alone time, and I really like the house to be quiet, and I really like it to be a place of peace. And there were a lot of nights that I disrupted that for her, even though she had already said like, hey, like, just so you know, like, I really value these things. She didn't say like the house always has to be a place of peace and it always has to be quiet and it always has to be zen. But she said, hey, I really value this. And so in my Tinder era, in my whatever dating era, just, you know, very destructive, very messy era, I just always had like friends over. I always had a guy over. I always had like something going on, like crazy, like, because that's just, I guess, what I needed at the time. She approached me and she said this exactly. Hey, so I'm not mad at you, but I gotta tell you something. And I said, okay. And she's like, no, like, just know that I love you and that this has nothing to do with who I think you are. And I said, okay. Got it. Like preparing for the worst. And she said, I really, really value my peace and my zen at home, at least for like 80% of the week. I just need it to be quiet. And I really value it, is what she said. Not that she needs it. She said, I really value it. And she said, I've expressed that to you before, and I don't believe that that's important to you because of your behavior lately. And she said, in our friendship, it's really important to me that you value what I value. You don't have to understand it, but I need you to recognize that if we're going to be friends, that you need to respect what I value. And then she just stopped talking and just like looked at me. And I was like, ooh, like, cause it was, I'd never been criticized like that. Like I had never been spoken to in that way. Like so respectful, so nice, so kind, so gentle and loving, but like blatantly calling me out for not valuing our friendship enough that I wasn't respecting what she valued in her personal life. And it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That is so true. And so then the conversation changed from, Annie, I am so sorry. What would be the most helpful for you so that while I reorganize my priorities and figure out how much this friendship really means to me, because obviously it didn't mean that much to me at that time, because I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
If our friendship really meant that much, I wouldn't have done that. I would have thought about her. I would have cared about it.
Yeah.
But for some reason at that time, I didn't care about our friendship enough. And I'm okay to say that now, because now it's the most valuable friendship in my entire life. And I will do anything to maintain that. I would call her at 2 a.m. if she needed me.
And it's cool to like see that you have a friend and notice that you have a friend that values your relationship enough to confront you with something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like a lot of the time it's like something happens and then you just stop talking, you know? Yep. Like I've had that happen several times with like random people that it's just, it's just like, it's not worth it because they're not going to see your side. They're not going to take accountability. It's just like, but someone that's willing to like take accountability and like let you also do the same and create that space for you is like, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It was interesting because like, I think she gave me space to be messy and she gave me space to be complicated. She showed me that I needed to be different. And she was like, hey, I think you care about me. Here's how you need to show it. Here's how you need to value our friendship. And if you don't value our friendship like that, that's okay. And there's no, I'm not angry at you. I'm not angry. I don't hate you. I don't wish badly for you, but our relationship will look different. If you don't value our relationship enough, like there are certain things that we won't do anymore. Yeah. There are certain things, like how I started to look at it was it's okay to not be BFFs with every single person that comes in your life. But if there's someone in your life that you really, really care about and they benefit your life so much, you better fucking value them. Yeah. And you better fucking respect what they value too. You know, you don't get both. Like you have to be willing to do what it takes to have them in your life. Yeah. And it's hard work. And friendship, I think for that reason is selfless. You know, it's selfish and selfless. Like you have to be really comfortable with your reasoning for both. Like you have to be like, I care about you so much that I'm willing to, you know, take that extra step to think in my head, like, I want to do this, but is that going to be okay with them? Yeah. Or I know they value this so much and I'm going to have to ask for a little wiggle room on this one. Like, how can I approach that in the best way? And that's exhausting sometimes. And it feels like you're over communicating with your friend, but you should. Cause like friendships also like, it's the best way to learn relationships. It's the best way to, you know, eventually you find your best friend that you want to be with for the rest of your life. And that's your husband or that's your partner or that's your wife. Like friendships are where you practice those relationships. So true. Yeah. And so when you can find someone that wants to practice it with you as much as you need the practice, like it's so awesome. It's so valuable, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it's so rare. And so like, I feel like even just this conversation just wants me to like, makes me want to be so much more like appreciative of those people in my life, you know, like the ones that do call me out and the ones that are there for me and that like do accept me in all levels, you know? Yeah. But okay, I have a question for you. That's what I ask everyone, and you already know the question. Yep. Okay, if you could have everyone in the world understand one thing, what would it be?
I would want people to understand that you are allowed to be you. Like, that's it. Like, you're allowed to be whatever you want to be. Like, you, not even whatever you want to be, you're allowed to be you because you are who you are. Like, for a long time, I was chasing the idea of like, I can be anyone that I want. It's like, no, you can't. You can only be you, and no one else can be you. And like, you're essentially stuck with you. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
The more you understand you, the more you want to be you. And there's like, because anytime that you're faced with insecurity, anytime you're faced with, you know, any feelings of like maybe jealousy or like you don't fit in or whatever, it's because you don't understand you. It's because there's something missing that causes you to look elsewhere. It causes you to think thoughts about yourself. Like, it causes you to be like, well, what's wrong with me? It's like, nothing's wrong with you. You just don't know where you are. Yeah, I would just say like, the more you dive into the depths of your magic and the depths of your power and the depths of what makes you, you, like what makes you messy, what makes you complicated, what makes you weird, what makes you funny, what makes you, you know, likable. If you can get to know those things and you can start to uncover your strengths and your weaknesses, then life gets better for you. And you finally feel like you're allowed to be you so unapologetically, so authentically, so real, so raw, so vulnerable. Yeah, just the more you find out about you, the more you want to be you. So yeah, I would say that.
Amen. That's beautiful.
Period.
I love that.
What about you?
I feel like if I could have the first thing that comes to mind right now, I feel like that is so amazing. So double that. For sure. Love that.
2 servings of that, please.
2 servings of that. And also, I think like that is just so beautiful. Like, I almost just want to leave it at that, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I just think that is so powerful. And like, just finding like that the magic is in you. Like, you have all that you need, and we really can never be anyone else, you know? And I think the one thing that did come to my mind when you said that, aside from what you said, would be that like everyone is projecting. And what are you projecting? You know, to see that not only is the mean person that is, you know, talking bad to you, down to you or whatever, like they are projecting, but also like, what are you projecting? And like, I feel like there's so much beauty in becoming more self-aware, because then you truly gain so much more control over your own life,
and,
you know?
And on top of that, there's nothing anyone could ever say that you don't already know about yourself or have considered about yourself.
Yeah.
Either.
And then you don't get as offended as easily, you know?
Yeah, totally. Like, it was like your example where someone had like called you chaotic or something.
Yeah.
But now you've grown up and you've realized like, I am chaotic, but that's like a strength of mine. Like, that's actually so cool.
Yeah.
It's something that has always just like troubled me so much, is like, people have always said like, you just can't make up your mind. Like, you change so much. Like, you're always doing something new, like rebranding or trying something different or whatever. And I'm like, I have looked into that so deeply in my soul, in the depths. Like, I have been to that bottom, and I've just been like crawling around down there with a hammer. I'm like, ding, ding. Like, what else is down here? Why do I do that? You know? And then it kind of just took me being like, so what if I change a lot?
Yeah.
So what if I love just like, changing something up, making something new, feeling fresh? Like, what if I just like that?
Yeah.
Who cares? And then I realized like, that's my strength. Like, I run a marketing business now. Like, I help others change, and I help others realize that they can change and it's okay, you know?
Yeah. I feel like there's so much power in fully embracing who you are. Mm-hmm. Every, like, all the quirks. And okay, there's a lyric from Zach Bryan that says like, find someone that plants flowers in the darkest parts of you. Have you heard that? And I feel like we need to do that for ourselves too. You know, like, we need to plant flowers in the darkest parts of ourselves, because I think first we need to do that, and then also allow other people to do that. Mm-hmm. And
one, I think if we do that, other people will too.
It's so true, because we teach them how to treat us.
That's right. And because they'll see the beauty in those dark places.
Yeah.
And they'll want to nurture that garden too.
Yeah.
You know, like, literally, I mean, I could go on a whole spiel about that, especially like, I mean, relationships, friendships, in parent relationships, like it is the same in all of those things, that like how you treat yourself is how others will treat you, because they'll see the work you're doing and they're going to want to help, because it's human nature.
Yeah.
To want to help
and it's
make
like,
the beautiful even more beautiful. And like,
something too that I feel like we could literally talk all day.
Yeah, most likely. Probably.
Always. It's like also showing up confidently in that,
Yeah.
Because it's like the energy you show up with is like the energy that sets the tone,
Oh, yeah.
if you're going to go into a hard conversation, or if you're showing up for, I don't know, like when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so insecure. I'm so scared. Like sometimes I just like walk into something that I'm absolutely terrified to do. And I'm like, I am such a badass fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like I can do this right now.
Yeah.
And nobody can stop me. Even
Yeah.
if I feel the exact opposite, like something shifts in my brain. And I feel like the energy that I'm showing up with completely shifts,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's so interesting, because the other thing too is like, because we are human beings and because we have a brain that is so much freaking smarter than we even think it is, like your brain is powering your entire body without you even thinking about it. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That is nutso. Like I know what I'm saying before I even think about what I'm saying. Like my mouth and my body is like moving and I'm doing it and I don't even know how.
Literally how.
There is no thought there is zero thought.
Yeah.
So like your brain, so freaking smart. You so freaking powerful. Like you don't even realize how much you could change your life, your situation, a scary thing that you're about to go face. Like you can change your energy so easily.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like it is, which is actually, I think, one of the biggest, I wouldn't even say secrets. It's just lost knowledge, is that we innately as human beings are so powerful. And it's almost terrifying.
Yeah.
We are fragile against like the laws of nature, but as far as energy, as far as like, quantum physics, as far as like frequency, vibration, we are masters somewhere in there. We are like masters of that, but it's lost knowledge. We forgot as a human race, we forgot how powerful we are and that we can manipulate energy and we can literally change our reality with just a single thought.
Yeah.
Like you walking in somewhere that you're nervous about, and all it is a thought. I'm a badass. That's all it takes. And boom, the entire situation, the entire outcome, the entire universe collapsed in on itself, came back together and gave you an amazing outcome.
Yeah.
And gave you the experience that you wanted. You did that. No one else did that. It wasn't God. It wasn't, some different like angel being. Like it was you. It's not mystic. It's science, which is actually crazy.
Yeah.
I had this quote that I was saying to myself like over and over almost every day. And it was, the miracle is you. And the miracle is you just means like everything beautiful, everything spectacular, everything unknown, anything that we cannot fathom, like the crazy shit that happens in the world every single day. The miracle, the crazy thing is us. We are the exception to the rule. We are the beings that are going to bend the universe, our universe, because we can.
Yeah.
But we forgot. And so like, how can we like ignite that in ourselves? And how can we remember like literally no sweat? Like there is nothing that can stop you. There is nothing. If you believe it, and if you know so deep in yourself how freaking powerful you are, like nothing's stopping you, baby.
Yeah.
Ever. Like you could literally do anything. It's wild.
And I feel like like when I don't feel that way, it's like just me remembering that, like getting back into my routine and reminding myself how powerful I am, Mm-hmm. Well, I love this. I love this episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
She'll be on here more. We have so many things planned. So
thank you for letting me rant about all the crazy things.
This is just a glimpse into our chats every day. Truly just a glimpse. So yeah, stay tuned for more. And how can they find you?
On one of Jenna's stories. That
True.
would probably be the best.
But I mean, your Instagram, she does podcasts and she does marketing and you do all of the things.
Yeah.
And so
my Instagram is at Abby Orchard, ABBYORCHARD. And then on there, you'll find a link to my business account. It's just marketing strategy to help your business grow. And then I do have a podcast on my own. It's called The Vision Club. And we talk about all kinds of crazy shit. So yeah, go listen to that if you want to.
Well, thank you. You're so amazing and I love you so much.
You're
amazing.
And
we'll see you next week when we have Katie. She'll be coming on talking about our flow, moon cycle, all the things, period. And it will be so good and we will be so educated. Amen.
Amen.
Perfect.